Hey, it's Liz from Thrice, and it's Web3 Wednesday. So last week, if you were in New York City, you probably noticed two things. One, it was almost 90 degrees in April, which is just bonkers. And two, NFT NYC returned to New York. I did not actually attend this conference this year, but I did go last year and read a bunch about how it went this year and talked to a few friends who went and the like. And basically, my headline here, all quiet on the Western Front, it was a big letdown compared to 2022, from what I understand. The Post said, NFT NYC events head to dive bars and apartment buildings as crypto crashes. And true enough, crypto is down about 77%. I should say NFTs are down 77% year over year. And the attendance of this 3-day conference was only about 6,000 people, down from 15,000 in 2022, and kind of more akin to the 2021 pre-big NFT run-up when NFT NYC had about 5,000 people. The good news is they moved the entire conference to the Javits Center on the far west side of Manhattan, which was good because it was all in one building. And last year we were all running around from building to building. It felt very unorganized, and the speakers often only are up there for literally 5 to 20 minutes. And so you have to go to another building, and running through Times Square, you're probably not going to get there in time to even hear anything. This year's conference covered, regulation and IP, which is important, but not something people are super eager to go listen to a conference about. Gaming and fashion, which are still quite popular and topics I've covered in previous Web3 Wednesdays. Health, again, a very big and important topic, but I don't see a lot of crypto bros going to hear about what we're going to be doing in the health space. And of course, the metaverse, which, people are starting to wonder if the investment there is worth it at all. I'm going to talk about that next week on a Web3 Wednesday. The interesting thing I did hear, though, was that NFT Paris was actually quite fun. People really enjoyed it. It was better organized, had a good vibe. Not sure if, this was just Paris showing itself off in advance of the Olympics that are coming next year or what, but apparently the idea of an NFT conference isn't dead. Just NFT NYC wasn't all the rage that it was the year before. On the positive side, the big art collectors, they're still quite bullish, and the larger projects, the Moonbirds and the Bored Ape Yacht Club and the like, they're still hot. The Apes did not have Ape Fest this year. There wasn't a huge party. It seems like people are now having parties on their own schedules, not around these kinds of events like NFT NYC. The big talk of the town was a project called DeGods, whose founder is a guy named Frank. They had multi-day events and were talking up a lot of their work. Something interesting about DeGods is that their NFTs are on Solana rather than Ethereum, and it's a lot less gas, a little bit easier and less expensive to trade your NFTs on Solana. And they have an interesting thing because they actually burned or got rid of some of their original NFTs, which adds value to the remaining supply because there are fewer of them and there's demand for them. So obviously supply goes down, demand is still there, the value goes up. And a lot of the talk of this conference was about how they are, quote unquote, resurrecting some of their NFTs on the Bitcoin blockchain. And there's something called Bitcoin ordinals, which is sort of a complicated idea, but it's a way to put some of your art in kind of the metadata of each particular Bitcoin. Not really the metadata, but Bitcoins are made up of tiny little things called Satoshis, and you can write some of the art onto each one of these little Satoshis, and they all happen in a particular order, which is why it's called an ordinal. This is probably more information than you want, and perhaps I'll break this down in a future Web3 Wednesday. But anyway, that was kind of the talk of the town. There were some great parties, of course, NFT NYC is always about the side events, and Moonbirds, which is a very big project, and the artist Beeple, who sold his first NFT, for $65 or $69 million. They had a big party in Bushwick. That was apparently the place to be. People kind of bailed on Manhattan, went out to Brooklyn for all these fun parties and events. And, again, overall, I would say the good news is that it was much more about the reality, the actual reality, not the virtual reality of what's going on in the space. And the real builders who are still around and still working on their projects were there. And the hype meter was much, much lower. So that's a great outcome of this event. Remains to be seen how 2024 will turn out. They are already selling the tickets. Not sure anyone's buying them yet, but we shall see. Thanks very much, and we'll see you next week on Web3 Wednesday.